the average consumer is smarter today than ever before. Sales reps are losing sales because they don't know how to speak to the modern consumer. Let's talk about this. When you go to meet with a prospect, it is a strong assumption that you should have in your sales process that they've already done research before you've shown up. Before you get to your Zoom meeting, before you show up face to face, before that initial phone call, you should assume that your prospect has already done research on you. They've done research on who you are, who your company is, and the problem you're solving. Many sales reps are staying away from having these discussions. Sales reps don't want to have these discussions because sometimes the prospect's already done research that says they want to do business with somebody else. Look, in the world of sales, we have to be willing to have difficult conversations. And a good sales presentation is just a series of questions and answers that provide value throughout a conversation. So in order to do that, you have to be willing to ask the right questions. So the big problem here is our consumers are smarter than they ever have been before. And the problem here is sales reps shy away from this. So we're going to make a shift, and you're going to ask questions. And the number one question you're going to ask on your sales presentation when you sit with someone is going to say, what type of research have you done thus far? Get it out. Now, as you're going through your presentation, as you set your agenda and you build rapport, this needs to be an early question to your prospect. What type of research have you done thus far? This does two things for you. One, it allows the prospect to tell you where their head is at. By answering the question, the prospect's going to tell you what they believe is important, what they perceive to be a solution, and where they're at in the buying cycle. All of those questions will get answered at this point in the conversation. What type of research have you done thus far? If the answer is a lot of research, or the answer is some sort of yes, meaning they've done research, they've Googled it, they've met with your competitor, they watched the webinar, they had a phone call with someone else, something that is a yes answer. Your follow-up set of questions is, what did you like about it? And what did you dislike about the research you've done thus far? You keep the conversation going. You allow your prospect to elaborate. Don't be the sales rep that just assumes that they know everything they need to know. Don't be the sales rep that cuts your prospect off. Let your prospect speak. Let them tell you what they like. Let them tell you what they dislike. Use questions like, can you tell me more? Can you elaborate on that? I don't quite understand. Can you explain to me a little bit more in depth? Have your prospect keep talking. A question I ask after they've shared everything that's important to them is, what prompted you to look into my services before I arrived? All right? There is a problem here they're trying to solve. I know there's a problem here because I'm trying to sell a service or a solution to the problem. But I want this prospect to tell it to me first. Remember, if they tell me the problem and the solution first, and I present them the exact solution they've identified, the likelihood of them saying yes is significantly higher. So I have to be willing to have this conversation and ask the right questions. So what type of research have you done thus far? If yes, we're going to elaborate. If for whatever reason your prospect says no, they haven't done any research, two things come to mind. One, is your prospect your ideal client avatar? Are you spending time with a qualified lead? Most qualified leads will have done research. Not always, because there are people who are incredibly busy. There's always outstanding circumstances. So if they haven't done the research, my follow-up question is, well, what are you hoping to accomplish from our time together today? This is a big open-ended question. And the reason I tell somebody, what are you hoping to accomplish with our time together today, is because they're same thing. They're going to tell you what's important to them at that point in time. You see, sales prospects, when they agreed to a meeting with you, now this isn't cold calling, this isn't a cold calling script, this is you've agreed, you're showing up to a set appointment either in person or virtually. I want to know what this person's objectives are. And the reason I want to know what this person's objectives are is it tells me what's important to them. It tells me how I can best serve them. It tells me how they'll feel our time together today is a victory. If I don't have these conversations and I don't have this discussion, then I'm just doing what every other traditional sales rep does: product stuffing, feature dumping, just throwing stuff at them, hoping it sticks. Now, listen, just because you solve this problem of acknowledging your consumers smarter today and you get them to discuss what's important to them, you get them to disclose the research they've done, you get them to discuss the impact of the problem they're having, doesn't mean that you're always going to make a sale. Sales reps will have to make a mental shift. The average sales rep right now is still a very product-based sales rep, meaning they do what we just said. They tell you the features and benefits. They tell you what their product can do for you. They tell you the problem you're having and how their product can solve it for you. It's very much I-centered. My company can do this. My product can do this. My service can do this. When that is the nature of the conversation you have, you are not solving the immediate need of your prospect. So make that mental shift from a product or service-based sales appointment to a service of servant sales solutions. Meaning, I'm here to give you exactly what you need today. And having the conversation in the beginning with the right questions will outline how you can serve your prospect today. Remember, if you're trying to make a sale, the fastest path to making a sale is to solve one problem and provide service to your prospect immediately, and do it again and again and again. And if done effectively, they become a customer for life. That is the foundation of what we teach in the Catapult to Commissions follow-up strategy. We can talk about that at a much later date. But remember, solve the immediate need, become the immediate hero, and get more yeses. Acknowledge your customer is smarter than ever before. Find out what type of research they've done. Use that research to tailor your approach. That's what I got for you today. If you need help in this area, feel free to shoot me a DM. Do me a favor, if you're finding value in what we're doing, like, subscribe, comment, share, and I'll see you next week.